My motion is, should our subjectivities, personhood, and identities impact our professional practice? And my motion is, our subjectivities, personhood, and identities should not impact our professional practice. First of all, in order to practice in the design field, it is important to follow the guidelines and practices, and the personal subjectivities can sometimes be misinterpreted by the public. For instance, there are various designers and practitioners who do not strictly follow the guidelines of professional practice, and he or she may be blamed by the colleagues and peers, since the personal subjectivities, personhood, and identities can have a negative impact on the professional ethical guidelines and practices. Secondly, if the professional practice is influenced by subjectivities, personhood, and identities, it may contradict with the law. For instance, if a person approaches you and asks you to identify whether an object is real or not, and makes a really intriguing offer and asks you to claim that the object is real, you may be needing the money. However, this conduct is against the law, and if the conduct is exposed, the reputation might be ruined as well. Therefore, the professional practices should not be influenced by the subjectivities, the personhood, and the identities, since the most essential thing in professional practices is adhering to the professional codes and guidelines, as well as the ethical codes and guidelines as well. If the professional practice integrates the subjectivities, personhood, and identities, unfair and biased situation may occur. For instance, if the person is a teacher and can decide the marks of works produced by students, the teacher integrates the subjectivities, personhood, and identities into judgment. The final outcomes may be unfair for the students, and it is essential to judge the work based on the professional standards and guidelines instead of the personal preferences and likes. Therefore, it is important for people to adhere to the professional codes and principles instead of letting the personhood, identities, and subjectivities interfere with the professional practices. Thirdly, the subjectivities, personhood, and identities should not impact the professional practice, since individuals may have undergone different situations and may come from various different backgrounds as well. If all professional practices can be influenced by the subjectivities, it may be rather difficult to establish an unified standard for the industry. Therefore, it is argued that the professional practices should be affected by the subjectivities. It is also believed that all persons are equal, no matter of their personhood, identities, and subjectivities. Therefore, the professional judgment can become a controversial issue, since everyone's perceptions on the professional practices can be correct and equal. Then it will be rather difficult to reach an agreed standard in the design industry, and the codes and guidelines can be damaged by these biased professional practices as well. Therefore, it is rather essential for people to put their personhood, subjectivities, and identities aside when it comes to professional practices. Some people may argue that subjectivities cannot be avoided. Nevertheless, it is essential to reduce and eliminate the subjectivities in professional practices, which is also conducive to the reputation of the industry. Therefore, it is believed that the subjectivities, personhood, identities should not impact our professional practice.